Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Sideline Junkies. Tonight we got a nice little special show for you. Some recaps, some things that we need to get off our chest. So if you got any airing of grievances, this is like the Festivus episode of the Sideline Junkies today. It's the Tuesday night flight. I'm gonna let KG do the intros.
Welcome to another edition of the Tuesday Night Flight. It's me, the big guy KG, sitting there with none other than Duval Paul. You always see him in the comments, but you see him on screen today. None other than the one, the only, probably the biggest Billy Paul fan you'll find. Me and Mrs. Jones. The Midnight Rider, also known as BC and other channels. How y'all fellas doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing great.
Dark times in North Florida.
Ooh, boy. It's coming. That's all I'm going to say. It's coming. It's coming just like winter's coming. But, fellas, we got to jump into this thing. We got Week 13 recap, right? Oh, before we get to the Week 13 recap, if you look at the bottom of the screen. Now, I've had a hard day today. I've been delivering cars, picking up stuff for Christmas, making sure the inventory is stocked over at Helen Hunt Motors. But if you need something a little bit cheaper than the car, you need to go to Fort Mose. Get yourself a bottle of bourbon or whiskey. If you got a good stick to go with it, something to please your palate, a tasty beverage, if you will, go to www.buyfortmose. That's buy, BUYFORTMOSE.com/discount/maniacs. Use our discount code, get $10 off a bottle. All right. Now, week 13. I think this is a week of 808s and heartbreaks. I'll say that to reference Kanye West. Midnight Ride, I was not available on Sunday. So do you have the stats from Sunday as far as you and BJ picking the overs, the unders, the Vegas odds and everything?
I don't have the Vegas stuff. I thought B was going to jump in. I thought he said yes and send it to me. So I'll calculate that and hit that up on Thursday. Okay.
First game up is the Texans versus the Broncos. Let me. This is what you talking about? Yesterday is what? I hope he wasn't talking about the Fort Mose. Boy, you don't need to know nothing about that. You're 15. Jeez, but glad he's here. The Texans versus the Broncos.
Okay.
This game right here, I gotta call it like it is. I didn't expect this game to go down like that. So, let me throw some stats at you. Then I'll go to Paul first, and then Midnight Rider, you finish it off. Where's my stats at? Russell Wilson, 15 of 26, 186, a touchdown, and 3 picks. Your man, CJ Stroud, 16 of 27, 274, and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton only had 2 catches, but he had 77 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 9 catches, 191, and a touchdown. And bad news for the Texans, they lost Tank Dell to a broken fibula. So, Paul, what you think about that?
Yeah, it's great that they got the win for them because they closed the gap with Jacksonville, who laid an egg last night, especially on defense. But losing Tank Dell, he shouldn't have. Gotta love that guy's game. He's, for a rookie, he does just about everything you want, but I don't know that you need him blocking on the goal line like that because that's what ended up doing him in, and that's the lesson learned. But obviously, as big of a loss as that will probably be for them for the season, damn, Nico Collins comes out of nowhere, goes bananas, and they still have other threats. And CJ Stroud does not seem to me to be a guy that's gonna be as limited by lesser receivers as other quarterbacks out there. He's definitely shown he's the real deal, and he's just gonna keep slinging it. So it's a big loss for the Texans, but they end up getting the win. And it's, another AFC win. So they close the gap, trying to knock out who they need to knock out to maybe secure the AFC South.
I think it was well, I know in this one, BJ and I, we both took the Texans because I'm the quasi Texan fan of the group, I guess. One of the biggest cheerleaders this part of the season. The good thing, though, I think, well, it's not a good thing, but I think there's some silver lining here. I think the Texans are doing enough in their passing game that they can get by. And I think the name you probably want to listen to now or look out for is John Mechie, the kid that tore up his leg his senior year at Alabama. He's on this roster. He just hasn't gotten any touches, and I think this opens up a spot for him. The crazy thing I heard earlier was Nico Collins is on track to get 1,300 yards this season if he keeps going at this pace. And Tank Dell was on a pace to have almost 1,100 yards. So that's quite possibly could have been, well, he wouldn't have been Offensive Rookie of the Year because they would have given that to Stroud. But still, he would have been in the running for that award. On the Denver side, I just think this is Denver. Like, I don't think Denver can score over 17 points. They might score 20 in this iteration that they're doing. Trying to help save the defense and not turn the football over. So I think Denver's going to struggle. As I said Sunday, I think the Texans and the Colts, just based on the way their schedule ends, they can make it very interesting for Jacksonville. Go ahead.
That damn mute button. All right, I'm gonna say this, and I think you alluded to it just a few seconds ago, and I was gonna ask the question: CJ Stroud, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
I think he's got to be.
And I think he should be. He should get votes for Offensive Player of the Year. Period. You got a team that
I think what the Cheetahs doing maybe trumps that.
Yeah,
again, and in the conversation, there's a conversation that has to be had. And if there's 5 guys in this league, Stroud's got to be one of those 5.
I think if Cheetah goes for 2,000, you don't even look twice.
Right. Because, but the question becomes: do you give Cheetah MVP?
We might be.
2,000.
You have see.
That's just a question you have to ask.
I know, and when you win MVP, I guess if you're an offensive player, you win MVP. You got to win the Offensive Player of the Year. If you're a defensive player and you win MVP, you got to win Defensive Player of the Year. Because, I mean, if you're MVP, unless you make kind of sort of like your Players of the Year, like your Intercontinental Championship, that's your secondary title. But if I'm going to give out Offensive Player of the Year, and I'm not saying this to be funny, somebody that's on my list that's doing a lot with nothing, I'm not saying they're number one, but they have to be in talks, it's got to be Sam Howell. The kid's leading the league in passing, leading the league in touchdowns. I mean, he's working with scraps right now. He dropped down to 4th?
No, he's got 4 wins. He's not in that conversation.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You guys are talking about Player of the Year, and I'm so salty right now because I'm a wins guy. I don't care about stats. I care about dubs is what I care about. And I'm so salty right now. I can't even because I got all the dubs and
13
a
of them?
participation award.
13 of them?
Well, here's the thing. If that's like what year was that? That was 2011. Peyton Manning missed the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom fell out for the Colts. I said Peyton Manning should have been voted MVP that year because he was the most valuable player. He showed he was the most valuable player because he didn't play and the bottom fell out. But I say Sam Howell because he has the numbers. I'm going off of numbers. I'm not going off of wins. Wins are a team thing. We're talking individual awards, so you can't bring in team numbers into an individual award. If that's the case, if Tyreek Hill does go for 2,000, but Miami doesn't make the playoffs, they collapse and they go 8-9 the rest of the way.
They're the 1 seed right now, ain't they? They're gonna.
They collapsed and lost every game. Would you still be talking about giving Tyreek, even if he has great numbers, but they finished below 500? Are you still talking about giving him MVP?
I don't think they're gonna be like.
I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Now, not saying that it'll happen, and I don't think so either, Paul. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying just a snowball's chance in hell.
I
But
hate to say it again because I'm so angry, but this is why you play the games.
All 13 of them.
Oh, I'm gonna be full of the cliches today.
that's good. That is good.
Hey, just FYI, I mean, think about it. Most of the time, with especially the offensive player of the year and the MVP, most of the time the MVP is a quarterback.
Yes.
The quarterback on the best team in the league. So if you're the 1 seed and your quarterback's having a good year, more than likely you're the MVP. And then like last year, Justin Jefferson was the offensive player of the year. So you have that line of demarcation between the two awards. It's just not a carryover.
Yeah, and I think it's the way they do it is I just don't agree with it. But that's put a pin in. That's another story for another time. Texans are 7-5. Broncos fall to 6-6, and the Broncos are coming in on a 5-game win streak. So seemed like 5-game win streaks fall this week. Next game up, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco starting. Flacco 23 of 44, 254, 2 touchdowns in the INT. Stafford 22 of 37, 279 and 3 TDs. Kareem Hunt had 12 carries, 48 yards. Williams for the Rams, 21 carries, 88 yards and a touchdown. Nacua, 4 catches, 105. This dude's he came out of nowhere and been on fire all season long. So if you got him in fantasy,
Yeah,
I know
don't cheat him on his rushing yards.
The dude, he Swiss Army knife. And Moore had 4 catches for 83 yards. Paul, what were your feelings about this game? Rams win 36-19.
I guess the only thing I'm excited about is seeing as we play the Browns next here in Jacksonville, that Joe Flacco, I wasn't particularly blown away by what he was doing. I mean, yeah, he's basically a good backup at this stage. But the Rams,
it's like third string, right?
Well, the Rams needed this. The Rams needed it. They're still kind of hanging around in the hunt, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean, they needed it. They're kind of a hot and cold team. They're like a box of chocolates. You don't know which team's going to show up. You don't know what you're going to get. But I'm familiar with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a pretty solid win for an LA team that needed it.
Joe Flacco playing just, I don't get it. But I mean, I understand at a certain point, you need somebody to at least make the offense look functional, and that's what he did. The Rams, just like Paul said, you never know what you're going to get. Puka Nacua has just been on fire. He's another person that we talked about a lot in the early part of the season. He had a little lull here, but he's back getting his numbers. Cooper Kupp made an appearance in the end zone. If I remember this correctly, I think me and B went with the Rams because we couldn't believe Flacco was playing quarterback. So I know we went with that on that one. I think this slate, honestly, we agreed on just about everything. So yeah,
it's absolutely crazy because about 11 years ago, I was having this is 2011, before the Super Bowl run. I was telling people, I said, Flacco's elite. No, he's not. Flacco's not elite. I said, Flacco's elite. He's an elite quarterback. He made it hard for me to make that argument after a while. But I said, Flacco's an elite quarterback. Flacco is that quarterback that had his time, got his ring, but he put himself over the team. When he took that big contract in Baltimore, I was no longer a Flacco fan because they couldn't re-sign anybody. To see him come up off the sofa and start an NFL game in 2023, and we got so many other quarterbacks you could have went to. Not naming no names.
Oh boy.
I didn't say that was it. I'm not even going there. But see Flacco of all people. I mean, you couldn't have called Mark Sanchez. I mean, what the hell? Really? He did look good to be coming off the sofa. Let's give him credit where credit is due. I just don't. I think the shine has gone off of Flacco. So, but the Browns kind of needed this win to kind of sort of keep pace with Baltimore in the AFC North. but they dropped to 7-5. The Rams move up to 6-6. Next game, the Indianapolis Colts beat the Titans. That was a divisional matchup at that. 31-28. Where's my going to losing the games here? Gardner Minshew 26 of 42, 312 and 2 touchdowns. Will Levis 16 of 33, 224, a touchdown, and he got in DeAndre Hopkins' face. Zach Moss 19 carries, 51 yards. Derrick Henry 21 carries, 102 and 2 touchdowns. Michael Pittman Jr. 11 catches, 105. DeAndre Hopkins 5 for 75 and a touchdown, and Pittman had a touchdown. Paul, what you think about this game? Because this kind of sort of affects you.
I mean, I don't root for either of these teams, obviously. I personally hate the Titans more. I wasn't going to have a little, soft spot in my heart for Gardner Minshew. I don't particularly care either way, so long as both of them finish behind us. But at this point, I don't even know, what the hell we're going to be, when we show up next week. I thought that it was there was a big play towards the end that they needed that deep throw, and Minshew got it, and it's. I mean, I thought it was a good win for Indianapolis. It was definitely showed that Tennessee still got some fight. Derrick Henry had a better game than he's had in recent games, but. Indianapolis also just got rid of Shaquille Leonard, which was kind of a head scratcher for me, and he's probably chasing a ring now. But I mean, I thought it was a good division, win for Indy. Shows how even, those teams that maybe you count out are still got a little bit of fight and a little bit of pride in them. But I thought it was a good win for Indy.
Same thing. I mean, I think Gardner Minshew, I've been saying it since he's been in the lineup. I think I even was called a name by a certain person in the group talking about my Gardner Minshew love. I forgot what the name I was called, but I think this team I think they're going to be okay, man. I'm glad I can't see whatever y'all got going on. But it's just one of those things. I think I know we both took the Colts in this ball game. So that was a win. I just don't remember the spread, so we'll leave that behind. And then the other thing was with the Colts, I just think they make plays now somehow. As long as they can stay in the game, they got enough. And I wasn't surprised about Shaq getting released because they had been playing this kid. I think he's number 44. Can't think of his name, but he was a draft pick that came on. And he's been really good. And he made it hard for them to even get Shaq on the field because I think they're another team that only plays 2 linebackers. So he just didn't have room or space.
And you got to learn how to face Derrick Henry sometime.
Right.
Agreed. This right here, I haven't been paying attention to records. The Colts are 7-5 after this game. Mm-hmm. The Titans dropped to 4-8. And I'm just like, wow. The Titans, like, what we were talking 2-3 years ago, the Titans were
the 1 seed.
Super Bowl contenders. Yeah. I ain't gonna say Super Bowl contenders. They were fringe.
No, they were the 1 seed and they shit the bed because they were overrated.
Yep.
Overrated.
And now, I mean, another thing about them is they just can't get out their own way. And again, like we said Sunday, the Colts and the Colts have an easy trip to the playoffs. If they can just win the ones they're supposed to win, they can sneak in as a 6 easily.
But you know what? As much as it pains me, you got to give a little bit of credit to Will Levis for playing the way he's playing. You can't name a worse receiving core in the league than what Tennessee's trotting out there every week. You can't. I can't. I mean, so
challenge accepted.
I mean, they've got some. I mean, they got Treylon Burks, who they try to replace AJ Brown with. How's that working out?
You got Adam Thielen as your number 1.
That's Carolina.
Exactly.
Carolina.
You said find you a worse one. Jonathan Mingo's your 2.
Whoa.
We don't even know who
Hang
the
on.
3 is.
Hang on. Who's Tennessee's number 1?
Hopkins.
Right. Okay.
We're arguing about arguing about trash and garbage.
Yeah.
You got trash.
Anyway.
I got garbage.
I've got bigger fish to fry than Tennessee's receiving core.
Oh Lord. Okay. I'm
just being patient here.
I was waiting for that to go because I knew that was going to go, but I digress. Now, next up to a game that was probably game of the week, and I know I ruffled some feathers earlier, and I'm going to explain myself. But the 49ers, bang, bang, Niner gang, defeat the number 1 seeded Philadelphia Eagles 42-19. That's not the stats I want. Brock Purdy had a Brock party. 19 of 27, 314 and 4 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 26 of 45, 298 and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 93 yards. Jalen Hurts led the Eagles 7 carries, 20 yards and a touchdown. Debo doing Debo things. 4 catches, 116 and 2 touchdowns. AJ Brown, who we just mentioned, 8 catches, 114. Paul, what did you think about this game?
My boy Arnold Jackson's just trying to get to school. And then the gooch comes along, takes his money, takes his lunch money, whooping, every sense of the word, whooping, in their house, pushed in Philadelphia's shit is what happened right there. McCaffrey went off. Debo went off. That Philly D that's so vaunted, they were spread out. They were exposed. Jalen Hurts, I thought, defensively was exposed a little bit. And I think a lot of teams are going to look at the tape and say, can we replicate what San Francisco did? Not a lot of teams have the dogs that San Francisco has to try to pull off what they did. But I think San Francisco said, we thought we arrived. I know that's your big thing, KG. We thought we arrived. We took a backslide. They fucking arrived. Like, I don't know who's beating this team. They gave us everything we could handle, and we couldn't hold a shine. I don't know who's beating this team. We'll see. I mean, today I don't know who's beating this team. 6 weeks from now, different story. But right now, they look pretty unstoppable.
I just think it's crazy that you even had to say that, Paul. Like, somehow you just can't say that this team has arrived. Like, this has to be either.
Oh, that's KG's thing. I was trying to respect.
No, I know what you're saying, but what I'm doing some alluding to the person that follows me in the conversation. so I just don't understand it. You go into the other team's house, you blow them out, but this guy came back to me like, you still haven't arrived. Well, where they go? That's the question. Where do you want them to go if they haven't arrived yet? Where do you want this team to go? It's real simple. The 49ers came out, they destroyed them. They I can't believe it. You know what? I'm gonna be a hospitable gentleman and pass my rest of my time on to you, Mr. KG, so you can just tell us what you mean by arrive.
I ruffled some feathers when they brought out the power rankings. I said that having the 49ers ranked in the power rankings above Philly after one defeat, okay? 49ers doing the damn thing. However, the Eagles were on a 5-game win streak as well. The 49ers stumble. Injuries. They didn't have this person. They didn't have that person. That's a part of the game. If you it's not Madden. You don't turn the injuries up. Yes, sir.
Oh, hang on. I just want to call a timeout right there since he said that. That's a part of the game. Just remember that one. That's a part of the game.
So my first question is, with the glasses, do you go with another persona? Like, are you not the big guy KG? Like, are you the philosopher KG now with the glasses on? I don't understand what happened here.
You've seen WWE. You know the genius.
Are you? Oh, that's what. Okay, I got it. Boom. Back in.
I tell people all the time, especially 49er fans, I get paid to do this. Okay. I constantly say the Niners have not arrived yet because I equated this win. You beat the brakes off of Philly. Great. But when it comes down to it, and it's time to beat them in the second season, you can't get past them. This is the same thing with it's not just the 49ers. Buffalo hasn't arrived yet. Buffalo will beat Kansas City's head in during the regular season all day long. But when it comes time to beat them in the playoffs, they can't. They lost to them 3 straight years in the playoffs. You haven't arrived yet. Until you beat your nemesis, you haven't arrived yet.
Oh, I think that day, if
I
that
like
day comes, I'm taking San Fran.
I'm still gonna take Philly.
All right, man.
I don't know what it is, but I like what I see in Philly.
One game. They beat them once in the playoffs. That was last year with the quarterback whose arm was dangling at the side. And then you had Josh Johnson, who got out of the witness relocation program, and you had to play him. And he actually played decent until he got hurt. Then you had to go with Christian McCaffrey. What are we doing here?
Whose fault is that? Can you blame the Eagles for that? Or can you blame the 49ers for that? You can't blame anybody. You got to play the game how the cards are dealt.
Oh, that's another good one.
That's a nice segue. That's a nice one. Like, we could have used that. We could have came back to that. But no.
Yeah. But you have
So
to.
are you saying record doesn't matter?
What you mean? Head-to-head record?
Yeah. Because, I mean, if we're doing strength of schedule or head-to-head, and you have those two teams close, don't you have to go with the person that won the last game?
Logically, logically, that's what it is. You have to go with that, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
questions here.
when it comes to the 49ers, they are a really, really, really great team. Not to take anything away from the Eagles, who are also a great team. And the Eagles win consistently. You don't see the Eagles go on a 3-game losing streak and their fan base makes up excuses.
All right, so let me ask you this question. If you say one team's a great team and the other team's a great team, and if great was a destination, they both arrive at the same destination.
They'd arrive sooner than the Jags.
See, you trying to convolute the water here. And
I'm trying to clear the water up.
No,
like right now, this whole arrival thing to me feels like the Exxon Valdez, and I've been breaking out some Dawn and rubbing down some ducks.
Bottom line, when you look at dominant performances, if we go back and we look at the tail of the tape, we look at the 9 wins at San Francisco. No, I'm sorry. Take out the Philly game. You look at the 8 wins that they have, right? Look at the 3 losses. You see 2 different teams in wins and losses. Great teams still get the job done, injuries or not, because you have a great roster built.
That's an interesting concept.
Now, if Jalen Hurts went down and Philly just fell apart and imploded, and they dropped the rest of their games out in the first round, then that's that. But they great teams have to win in spite of injuries. Injuries are a part of the game. This is not Madden. You can't cut the game off. You can't cut the daggone injuries off. Everybody talking about, well, they had that 3-game losing streak because of the injury. I don't want to hear that. Shut the hell up about the injuries. You still got to win the game.
I think Paul needs a collection plate passed to him.
I cannot, in good faith, put the 49ers over San Francisco right now. Maybe in 2 weeks. Maybe. If let's say San Francisco continues to roll, but the Eagles falter, then I can see it. Like if the Eagles come out and play flat next week, I can see it. And I only have to say the next couple of weeks. If they come out and play flat, but if the Eagles come out and they bust ass the rest of the way, and San Fran busts his ass the rest of the way, and we see them in the NFC Championship game again, and the Eagles demolish them with all prime example. And I'm gonna leave it. Prime example. And I know what you get ready to say. In 76, when the Raiders played the Steelers, they didn't have Franco. They didn't have Rocky. All they had was Frenchie Fuqua. Oh, we didn't have our guys. You had your guys. Phil Villapiano said it. You had your guys, and we still beat your asses. Now all of a sudden, Frenchie Fuqua wasn't good enough, but he was good enough when the ball bounced off him and went to Franco. But now he wasn't good enough because we whooped your ass.
You know what? I have a tough time recalling that game because I think I was like 3 days old at the time of the game. So it just doesn't resonate on the top of my head.
You had a mouthful of boob. It was really obstructing your view.
What I'm saying is injuries are a part of the game. It doesn't matter. Don't use injuries as a reason to discredit a team's victory.
Novel concept.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Can I put? I'm not. I say a lot of things to poke people, to have them to tune in, to keep them coming back so they can argue. And I love to start arguments and comments and walk away. I love doing that. And now I have the opportunity to do it and not get kicked out. I love doing it. So I'll start an argument and never respond.
Tell me. What are we doing here?
What do you mean?
There's a reason people don't just make KFC because they don't give them the 11 herbs and spices. You can't give up the 11 herbs and spices to the details because then people are going to be like, oh, he's just doing this.
No.
You got to keep the secret the secret.
No, the secret was already...
You're killing your kayfabe.
No. The secret was
killing
already...
your kayfabe. That's all I'm saying. You just knew wrestling.
No.
Go out for beers after you wrestle. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You ain't never seen Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair at the same bar. So don't kill the kayfabe.
The kayfabe was already figured out like 3 days ago.
All right.
And I'm surprised nobody else caught it. It's in the comments in the group. Because Keith Franzese is like, you come up with this stuff. I said, Slim, you'd have known me since 7th grade. You know nothing I do is ever on the level. He said, yeah, and if you did anything else different, I think something was wrong. You're damn right.
All right, man.
But I'm serious about this. The Niners have not arrived yet. You think you have, but you have not. Show me what you do.
Give me the Niners. I don't even know who they're playing next week. Give me the Niners. I'll take the Niners.
The Eagles get tested because they got the Cowboys next.
No, they got the Seahawks next.
Give me the Niners.
That's another one. The Niners and the Cowboys, that's already done. No,
the Eagles play the Cowboys next week.
The Eagles play the Cowboys. The Niners, the Niners aren't. They're playing good ball, but they're not playing as good as ball as Dallas is. Dallas is playing really good ball. Why is Dallas ranked so low?
Probably because the team
because Dallas hasn't done anything since Jacksonville's been a team. That's why. Because you got fans in Dallas still wearing their Zuba pants, thinking of the glory days because they haven't done shit since '95.
I mean,
you want to talk about a team that hasn't arrived? You got Ed Werder and Jane Slater sleeping on a fucking cot in goddamn Irving, Texas for fucking 25, 35 years. They haven't done shit since 1995.
Sorry. I say it all the time. When I say that, I'm a hater, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate Dallas more than I hate any other team. I always have.
See, this
Except
is
when
why
I was 3. It was a little bit different.
This is why we get along.
I was discovering what cheerleaders were.
Last but not least, for the NFL recap, we're going to come to DC, a game that I knew was going. I didn't even watch this game. I left out the house and went and go do some work.
It was probably better
Dolphins
for you.
Come in. You talk about somebody coming in, eating your food on the table, burping in your face, goosing your wife on the way out after you stuck your tongue down her throat. The Dolphins did that to Washington on Sunday, 45-15. Tua Tagovailoa, 18 of 24, 280, and 2 touchdowns. Sam Howell, 12 of 23, 127, and an interception. A-Chain came back, 17 carries is what I was afraid of, actually. 73 yards. B-Rob, 7 carries, 53 yards. Curtis Samuel, 4 catches, 65 yards. And Tyreek Hill, 5 catches, 157 and 2 TDs because he was covered with no safety help.
No, there was safety help. The safeties just kept going to the wrong spot. You know who didn't arrive? Those safeties. They didn't arrive.
Paul, what you think on this one?
Oh, you got some thoughts, man?
I mean, I expected Miami to win. I'm gonna give credit to KG. All the talking up of Sam Howell's really made me watch him a lot more, and got to give that kid some credit. he's doing everything he can. I think he's trying to do a little bit too much against some of these teams where it's clearly, clear that they're outmatched. Miami knows, like, yeah, they had a couple of hiccups early in the season, but they're still, positioned to be that 1 seed, and they're getting healthy. They're getting, rolling at the right time. And they're one of those teams that, what are you going to do? Make them one-dimensional? You're going to stop Mostert, and you're going to stop Achane, and then what? They're going to have Waddle and the Cheetah, and you got to pick your poison, and really, they're going to be a really, really tough out in the AFC. Again, you want to talk about another franchise? I've known Dolphins fans when I moved from New York to South Florida. Everybody I knew was like, "Oh, you got to be a Marino fan." I'm like, "No, I was born a Jets fan. F Dan Marino." And you got people that are down there that like are to the moon every time some team loses every year. I'm like, bro, you weren't even alive for like 20 years last time the Dolphins went undefeated. Like, you're talking about what? They haven't done anything in 50 years. 50 years they haven't done anything. 1984 was their last Super Bowl. Is that right? 1984?
Yep.
They lost to Joe Montana.
Yeah.
What did they have? Dan Marino, and they refused to give him a running back. They gave him Bernie Parmalee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all these pretenders with pretty names. Give Dan Marino a friggin' running back to go with all them receivers.
Bobby Humphrey.
Where's Bobby Humphrey today?
We were doing names, so I
exactly their names. Exactly their names.
Right.
Bobby Humphrey ain't like signing Panini cards anywhere.
For me, this game was real simple. The Commanders did what I expected them to do. All year long, our safeties have been in the wrong spot. For some reason, I think our safeties think they can jump every underneath route because we didn't think that the guy was going to run the deep route. The first touchdown, Achane was on one side open, and Tyreek was on the other side open, and Cam Curl was just in the middle, just chilling. So I don't know. And then on the second one, Percy Butler, Jesus Christ, if somebody, he should walk into the locker room and they should have a plaque over his locker that says, "No, you're the deepest of the deep when you play safety. No one gets behind you." Like, they should just tattoo that all over his stuff. Like, they should change his license plate, get it personalized that says the safety is the deepest man on the field. The kid just doesn't get it. We're 5 weeks into this, and this kid is just still jumping everything underneath. Like, dude, stop it. You're killing me. You're the safety. You're the deep safety. You got either the deep third, the deep half, whatever it is. But the key word is the deep. And for some reason, you can't be the last guy on the field. You always got to jump up on everything. I don't know what stats you're trying to get. You're not in the contract year. Secondly, dear Eric Bieniemy, can you give my man some help? Can you get him? You know what? Get Sam a table dance at least. If you're going to keep letting them get hit like this by Russian defensive linemen, can you get him to do the table dance? Because, Jesus Christ, you got to help the kid out. The one string you run, the end doesn't even block the guy. He lets Van Grinkle, Chris Kringle, whatever the kid is from Miami, intercept the ball and take it back for 6. Then we never saw another screen. The top running back had 7 carries. And most of that's in the second half. Dear Eric Bieniemy, make a plan. Please help me out. That's all I need. I just need a plan. I just need to know what we're doing, how we getting there. You know what I'm saying? If you want, I need you to be like Sesame Street. Just tell me how we going to get to Sesame Street. Just tell me. That's all I need. This is ridiculous. Like, this offense comes out every week, and I joked about Scott Turner doing this, but I feel like at times this dude just has, like, he closes his eyes and, like, goes around the big sheet and then stops. And that's the play he's calling. Like, it just doesn't seem to flow naturally. And then when you get pressure because you got the plan, he doesn't say, "Oh, let me go to the pressure plan," because I don't know if he's watching the same games I'm watching, but your quarterback been getting killed all year. So you got to have something. You gotta slow somebody down at some point in time. And you can't wait till the second half when you're down by 30 to start trying to establish the running game. Newsflash, you're a little too late to the party. You know why? Because you haven't arrived. I'm gonna keep kicking KGisms the rest of the day. He hasn't arrived. The run game hasn't arrived yet.
Oh man, we're gonna be waiting for a while. You need a Snickers over there. Is what you're gonna need.
Go ahead, KG. I'm sorry.
Get to a couple comments real quick. Lee
I
Ice jumped in
today.
Lee Ice said, "Thank God Jack Del Rio was fired. They might have gave up 70. That's what I was afraid of.
True.
I was afraid of that 70.
Time out. They was going to give up 70. Mike McDaniel said he looked around the room. He walked up to not Jack Del Rio. He walked up to Ron Rivera and said, "Am I not merciful?" He felt like Commodus because he was very merciful in that moment. Exactly. He ran the ball the whole second half. He had Mike White or Pat White or whatever White was in the game at like the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Like it felt like a college game. Let's just go ahead and throw the backup quarterback out there. Let's get him some reps. I'm surprised Arch Manning didn't come out. I mean, at this point, sorry, I'm good. I wasn't even trying to rant. I didn't even have a rant. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Lehigh says Eric Bieniemy should be arrested for attempted assault and battery on Sam Howell.
Hey, I'm with it.
All right, I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna say this, and I'm kind of mad that the boss BJ didn't show up tonight. I know he had some things to do, but I really wanted to say this to him and a couple of other people. Talking shit about Terry McLaurin, and I think it was Keefe from the block. He asked, was Terry McLaurin just a good receiver or was he elite? You're asking these questions. You know, Terry McLaurin, he was frustrated after Sunday. He got 2 targets, 0 catches. To question Terry's heart and his skill, and the boss BJ has done this on numerous shows. You go back and we were talking about giving Terry the money. He was like, Terry don't get it. He don't get that. Exactly what I said Terry would get, he got. To question if he's elite or not. And here you go. Oh, now you can't show up for work, but you can show up in the comments, though. Ain't that what y'all say to me? He said the Commanders have a bunch of second and third receivers, not a one. The knock before
this whole arrival thing. Good gosh.
I think if you guys could get an offensive line, you might give your quarterback, who I think, to your credit, has done a thing or two, give him an extra half a second to throw a ball. Maybe you determine, maybe we do have a guy who could pretend to be a one. I got news for you. Tom Brady's first couple of Super Bowls, he didn't have a damn one.
Exactly.
You got a good quarterback, you make it happen.
And that's where the problem lies. The biggest problem, the glaring problem on the offense, you have the receivers, you have the running backs. You even kind of sort of got the tight ends. You
use your running backs in the passing game well, too.
And the boss BJ's chiming in. He says nobody's questioning Terry's heart. And to me, that's what you're questioning, because you're saying that he's not a one, and then you say, well, they can't get separation. How can stand back there all day?
All day is loving in 2 seconds. All right, go. I'm good.
We're
going to see. He discombobulating me.
You see what he's doing, KG, is he's doing the same thing that you do.
Exactly.
He's just pushing buttons, is what he's doing, and you're taking the bait.
Y'all is just killing the kayfabe, man. Jeez.
I'm gonna move on to my second comment.
Oh, you got more comments?
Yeah. To those in the fan base that think that we should move on from Sam Howell because, we don't know if the new management, the new regime is going to really like him like that. Since Kirk left town. Well, since Kirk was ushered out of town, because he didn't leave, they ushered him out of town by not paying him. And I was one of those proponents that I couldn't get the money right. We haven't had a quarterback. We went through what 20 some odd quarterbacks here, starting quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you got a guy that's a proverbial rookie this year that's putting up these type of numbers, and you're talking about moving on from him because they may not like him. He is at the stage where he is moldable, but you see his intangibles that he has. Any coach that comes in here and be like, yeah, I don't want that guy. What? You have almost everything you need except an O-line.
Well, technically, he'd be smart not to.
If you let him go, you're going to make some GM very happy because he'll get scooped up in a minute.
Well, here's the thing. He becomes your trade bait if you want to move on from him.
Yeah, and then who do you start?
Hold on, hear me out, because now we're getting to the February, March part of this equation. Because if you're second or third in this draft coming up, you have to consider quarterback. And here's the golden goose. If you draft the quarterback, and trust me, I'm a Sam Howell fan, but if you draft the quarterback, you start a 5-year clock. Right now, you're at year 3 with Sam on a rookie deal. You only get 1 more year, and you got to start paying them. So you reset the clock by drafting a quarterback. So that is an option. And I'm sorry, us putting up those pitting little 15 points, the grace free, the 10. I'm sorry. So it doesn't make the passing yards don't mean nothing.
As a fan of a team who survived Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles, who couldn't throw a pass. I love Blake to death. Couldn't throw a pass 9 yards without it becoming a duck. If you've got the quarterback, you build around the quarterback. If you're going to have a top pick, you grab the best O-lineman. You do something in free agency. You don't let a good player like that at the most important position walk. That's just my opinion. Y'all do what you want.
No, I'm
telling you right now, you let him go. I mean, you better get a king's ransom if you let him go.
Okay.
Exactly. And I don't mean, we got 2/3 and a 4th. No, I want one cash consideration.
You moved on. Hang on. You moved on from Sweat and Chase Young. You're going to have some draft capital.
Right.
Build around your quarterback. You're gonna ditch Sam Howell and then have more pieces to replace? No.
You setting yourself up.
Telling you, he has 4 weeks to prove to me this is his job.
I think it's his job. I mean, I think it's his job to lose. I'll put it that way.
I agree with that. It's his job to lose.
He has 4 weeks. Clock start running.
The boss BJ said, we said this numerous times, and you agree, KG, those receivers couldn't get away from grandma with a belt. They have a problem with separation at times. I'll give you that. I will give you that.
But at the same time, he's still putting up all them yards.
Yeah.
So he's doing it somehow. Maybe it ain't the receivers. He's doing it.
And he said, B also says, you overpay QB's cousin set the franchise back 10 years and the sewer pipes at FedEx. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, the whole Kirk thing, that's not. Ooh.
Oh, boss BJ. Shots fired.
We'll just
I've been biding my time. Because out of this whole thing, that's the mystery to me. I can't tell, depending on who you talk to, either Georgia, the number 1 all season, is a great team, or suddenly they're hot trash. Depending on who you talk to and how it fits their narrative, that's a team that's like, in a camera obscura kind of, optical illusion, depending on who you talk to on how it fits their argument. But we'll get there.
I'm gonna put a pin in that because I know how I'm feeling, so I'm gonna leave it alone so we can get on. Quickly play NFL playoff picture. The Dolphins number 1 in the AFC, Ravens number 2, Chiefs number 3, Jaguars 4, Steelers 5, Colts 6. The Browns are 7, and the Texans, Broncos, Bills, man. Bengals, Chargers, and, pretty much everybody else is on the bubble. Only team that's been eliminated so far in the NFL playoff picture is the Carolina Panthers. Over on the NFC side, the Eagles number 1, Niners 2, Lions 3, Falcons 4, Cowboys 5, Vikings 6, and Packers are 7. Everybody else is on the bubble. Our Commanders are number 14. Yeah, that's damn near bottom. But anyway, come on.
Are we making comments on this, or are we just letting it go?
I mean, if you want to say something about it, Florida State has to finish the mission. The only way is to beat Georgia. Doesn't have to be pretty. Okay,
we're putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
I've been biding my time. I've been waiting.
Wait a second. Keep up with the segments, B. Keep up with the segments, baby.
What y'all got to say about the playoff picture before we jump into it?
No, I mean, I just really think on the AFC side, I think it's going to bear itself out because some of the water is going to rise to the top, and I think Miami, the Kansas Cities, and not Buffalo. Who's the 2 seed? Baltimore. Those three are pretty much going. They have theirs. They're going to be set in stone for me, and I think the questions become, what does Jacksonville have left? Because I don't know what the Trevor Lawrence thing is.
He's got a high ankle sprain.
So that's the question of how long is he out? You got CJ Beathard. Okay.
0 come from behind victories in his career. 0.
Okay. Who else? I mean, we've been saying
Christian Kirk is probably gonna have to have surgery.
Who?
Christian Kirk's probably gonna have to have surgery. He's got a core muscle issue.
But that's fine because I like the kid Washington.
Oh, Christian Kirk's been the most reliable receiver for this offense, and it hasn't even been close. Not saying he scored the most points. When we need when Jacksonville needs a first down, Christian Kirk has been the most reliable receiver.
You got Evan Ingram though. No, I'm joking.
Evan Ingram's also been very reliable. Christian Kirk's just that great downfield threat.
What do y'all have down there? Because somehow he went from dropping everything to now he's like actually a decent tight end.
Stickers.
And then on the NFC side, I mean, I think it's the same thing. I think the sad thing is Atlanta's just going to get in because everybody else.
I don't think Atlanta gets in. I don't.
So who you got?
I think Tampa Bay may steal it. I think Tampa Bay may steal it because Mike Evans is having a hell of a year nobody's talking about. Baker Mayfield is playing better football than I thought he was capable of. And I like their coach. I think they've got a coach who's been there, done that, doesn't blink. We'll see.
Well, I've been saying the problem for Baker was in Cleveland. The guy that looks like Tarzan but plays like Jane, David Njoku, drops everything. And then also Jarvis Landry was dropping everything. And Odell Beckham, when he did catch it, it was great, but it was far and few between. So I think Baker struggled because the pieces around him struggled. It wasn't as bad as people try to make it out. And I think you're getting a piece of that. Like, Baker's a decent quarterback. He should have never been one overall, but Baker's a solid enough quarterback in this league to play, to be somebody's starter. Now, he may not be your franchise guy, but he can start somewhere.
Matt says, did Trevor Lawrence make it to the ED or for his X-ray, or is he still walking there?
Yeah, he was walking pretty slowly, that's for sure. He's got a high ankle sprain. I'm sure none of us would be trotting out there like a gazelle if we had that. But he's doing all right. And you know what? He's still questionable to start next week. A lot of guys, high ankle sprain, they'd be out. Let me tell you the one thing with Trevor Lawrence is he's very durable. And what's that guy's name? The Perna curse wheel. That guy can get fucked because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to cram that wheel up his cursed ass if I ever get close to him. I've never seen our team get so snake bit with injuries in a game. You got Trevor, your franchise quarterback, hurt. Christian Kirk possibly done for the season. Walker Little hurt. Trey Herndon, like first quarter, starting nickel corner, hurt. Opened up the whole game. Fuck your curse wheel. Next.
And Matt said, why no cart? Hold on, I got to get to it.
No, he's saying why no cart? Yeah, we got some shit because I'm sure we have a cart. We probably have a cart. I don't know. The whole thing was miserable. I'm sleep deprived already. Just thinking
This thing
about.
still bugs me about the NFL. It's like you have these two, this 6'5", 6'6" guy trying to walk a field in a bad ankle, and you bring out the strength and conditioning coach who's 5'5", and the trainer who's 5'4", and he got his arms. What is it? What are they going to do? He's putting his arm on their shoulders like they can help him off the field, and he not put pressure on the ankle. Like, I've never understood that about the NFL. It's like these big guys get hurt, and then all of a sudden these tiny ass trainers come out and they lean on the trainer like he's taking the pressure off his leg. He ain't doing nothing. Let's go ahead. I'm ready now.
Now, this is what we came here for. So this is the poll. FSU snub. What the fuck? They were left out of the college playoff. How? I don't understand. Because, I thought that, when you started the college playoff system, you eliminated the BCS, so you eliminated the bullshit. But it seems like the bullshit is back because Florida State goes undefeated and they're not in the top 4, but Alabama has a loss. Who else is in the top 4 that has a loss?
Texas
has a loss. So your undefeated team is on the outside looking in, but you got one loss.
I swear to God, y'all don't listen to me.
I'm gonna give the floor to Paul. And
I just swear y'all don't listen. Y'all don't listen to me when I talk. I swear to God. I said this when we were on our last show and we were talking about the rankings. I said they put Florida State at number 4 for a reason. Because look,
man,
somebody
they
got
were at 3. They were at 3.
The last poll they were 4.
Yeah.
They were 4. Because Washington was 3. They were 4. Oregon was 5. Because they set it up so that Washington winner would be in the 3rd spot. Florida State would be in the 4th spot. And all I asked was, Florida State got to volunteer to be tribute. They got to say, we don't belong here themselves, because they don't. You got your 3rd string quarterback who was 8 for 21 with 55 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to put that in the national championship game. I got to sit and watch him play Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
No, sir. I'm sorry. I am a fan. I want to be entertained. Are you not entertained?
I am so glad that you started this off that way, Ben, because like I told you before we got started, I'm going to do my best to try to 8-mile you on this entire conversation. I'm going to tell you everything that you're going to say and say, what else do you have to say? What else are you going to tell me? So I'm going to start off, since we want to bring the pain, I'm going to ask you, because the first time I joined this program, the very first question I got, unprompted, unscripted, was about 1993. So I'm going to ask you, what happened in 1993? Floor is yours. What happened in 1993? Can you tell me? I don't remember. What happened?
So there's a little team called the Notre Dame Fighting Irish who beat Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams end up with the same record.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Notre Dame beat Florida State in the season,
mm-hmm.
somehow Florida State was awarded a national championship because Bobby had to get his.
Oh no.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So what happened? So what happened? Florida State lost to Notre Dame.
Right, and then Notre Dame lost to BC.
Notre Dame lost to Boston College, and then Notre Dame was rated a little bit lower. And then when it came time for the national championship, because Florida State was in, I think they were number 2 in the AP and the coaches poll, they got to the national championship game. And Notre Dame fans were all salty because, we beat Florida State. And what's the word? What's the word?
Head to head.
What you felt like Notre Dame
got cheated.
You felt like they got cheated. Why? Because they deserved. Same record. They deserved. And what did I say? I gave the honest opinion when I came on. I said, I think that was settled business because at that time, the league was such that the unwritten rule was it's better to lose early than to lose late. And that was my very honest answer because I thought it was the time. To KG's point.
Good point.
I thought that the bullshit was over. And
why?
What do you mean why?
Dude, hold up. What are we doing next year? We got a Pac-2 We got 45 teams in the Big Ten.
My point being, if you look at the AP and the coaches poll, 1993, Florida State finished 1, Notre Dame finished 2. I understand all the salt and whatever. If you want to really rub it in, I could just say, hey, 1994 was the last bowl game Notre Dame did shit in, the Cotton Bowl. You haven't done shit since 94 in a bowl game. How's that? If you want to be honest about Notre Dame stealing the thunder of postseason glory that they shouldn't be in bowl games. If you want to go there.
I'll look forward to watching you guys this week.
Okay. So let's talk about it. Florida State was 1 in the AP and the coaches poll. They were 1 in the AP poll, 1 in the coaches poll, which is why they were national champions. If you look at the AP and the coaches poll today, Florida State is 3 in one of them, and they're 4 in the other one. These polls are completely meaningless. I don't even know why they do them anymore, because you've got a system right now that says they can do whatever the hell they want. If this current system was in place, all the frustration that all those Irish fans have, guess what? That first game would have been 1-4. That would have been Florida State versus Notre Dame in the rematch, and you could have settled it on the field. And if you go to the college playoff website like I have, and if you look at some of their objectives, they say they want to determine a champion on the field. They also say they want to eliminate rematches of regular season games, which makes no sense why they would put both Notre Dame and Bama in. So let me tell you, this is a travesty on so many levels. I know college football has been going through a lot of growing pains with all these conferences ballooning to like cartoon sizes, and you got the NILs now to contend with. But it's really no excuse for what this committee did. In college football, and I've been watching college football since I was, for decades, the rule of thumb has been always every game matters. This decision the committee made says every game doesn't matter. Everything's just a fucking exhibition. Losing is okay. That's what this decision says. To have an undefeated conference champion boxed out from the opportunity to vie for a title so that you can bump 2 one-loss teams over, it's not forgivable. So first, let's talk about Alabama. They lost at home second week of the season by double digits, and that was an ugly game. I think their top rusher had 45 yards. Their Jalen Malone, I think, was 51%, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks at home. Not deserving. Iron Bowl. They needed a miracle 4th and 31 in the last minute to avoid being a 2-loss team because they were about to get their asses handed to them by a 6-loss Auburn team. So what happens if they're a 2-loss team like they should have been if that defensive coordinator would have sent any fucking pass rush? What happens if you have a 2-loss team that beats Georgia, who frankly Georgia's had a cakewalk of a schedule since before the season started? I can't tell if Georgia's a true number one because they've looked suspect to me all season, or if they just finally played a real opponent because we know that Kirby's not good against Nick Saban. He's 1-2. But this is also an Alabama team. Yeah, they beat Georgia by 3 points. That's so impressive. They beat Arkansas by 3 points. Fucking Arkansas. I don't think a 1-loss Alabama team deserves to be there over Florida State. If we're talking about Texas was number 7. They beat the committee's number 18 team and they jump 4 spots. Florida State was number 3. They have a true freshman starting quarterback, starting his first game ever. They beat the number 14 team and they dropped 2 spots. It makes no sense. People want to point to that poor offensive performance as a reason why, when nobody is saying, but you know that's not the quarterback that they should have. That's your 3rd string quarterback, Tate Rodemaker, second string quarterback, redshirt freshman, would have been the starter. He's the guy who started against the Florida Gators on the road, got the win as a backup. Rivalry game, you know it. The records don't matter. Rivalry game, tough environment. He gets the dub and he got a concussion. Very first college playoff series ever. 2014, Ohio State. Braxton Miller goes down. Suddenly everybody knows Cardale Jones. He gets the scene. He wins the national title. This committee didn't allow Tate Rodemaker the chance to be the next Cardale Jones. They said, no, we're going to look at some true fucking freshman making his first start, and we're going to make some decision. You know what they didn't see? A defense playing their fucking lights out because they thought that that's what they needed to do to have their last shot at a national championship. 7 sacks. Interception in the end zone. This is the best defense left. I know Michigan, if you look at the stats, it's going to say Michigan's got, a higher rated defense. I'll get to Michigan in a second. Texas. What did they do to deserve to knock out a undefeated conference champion? They beat Bama at home. Great. Okay. Who are their other signature wins? Kansas. And they lost to Oklahoma. They lost to Oklahoma team that lost to Oklahoma State and to Kansas. They beat Kansas by like 3 points, I think. The rest of their schedule, Texas. You give Florida State Texas' schedule, they'll go undefeated there. And I'm going to say it again, and just wait till I get to Michigan. If you want to talk about who deserves it, you can't say that a one-loss team deserves it more than what FSU did. You can't rank them as high as they did and drop them because you're pissed off that they overcame the odds. This team, this Florida State team, led by hands down the most inspirational coach in the college football today, they overcame everything thrown at them. And every time they stepped on the field, no matter what happened, no matter who the opponent was, no matter who wasn't there, they came out victorious. Texas can't say that. Alabama can't say that. FSU beat all the odds. They beat all the adversity. And they're still standing. And to steal this opportunity from them is horse shit. You look at every cliche in football. You played. I know you both played. There's no I in team. Next man up. You got to find a way. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And hang on, wait a minute. Defense wins what? Championships. Not the fucking ACC title. Fucking championships. And that's what FSU is about. It's not FSU's fault Clemson fucking fell off a cliff and was a 4-loss team. It's not FSU's fault UNC decided they're not going to do shit without Sam Howell. It's not FSU's fault Florida and Miami, who have perennially been the reason they didn't get to a national championship game because they were undefeated except for one of those losses. It's not their fault. Miami fell off a fucking cliff and Florida can't figure out their fucking coaching situation. And FSU knew all along that this is the way it was. They came out and they publicly said it. I don't know if we should still be in the ACC because they're looking at basically 2 mega conferences right now. And if we're not part of one of them, they're going to give some bullshit excuse. And they came out and said it, and that pissed off a lot of people. And maybe that's part of the reason why this situation went down. Now let's look at Michigan. First off, Michigan plays 2 fucking teams every year. And one of those teams, I'm going to just call it out, is overrated as shit. Well, they're both overrated. Ohio State's overrated. They're a mess of a program. They've got their starting quarterbacks ready to transfer out of the program. Outside of Michigan, outside of Ohio State and Penn State, and I'm just going to say it, Penn State also grossly overrated. Before this season, it's been since like 2019 that they have not dropped out of the top 25. This is the first year they've actually been ranked all year. We are not ranked. That's what it was up until this year. But Michigan, they're supposed to be this big, badass fucking program. They can't beat Central Michigan or Michigan State without sending a guy to fucking videotape their shit. And then what? What's the punishment? You don't have to listen to fucking Jim Harbaugh on the sideline? That's a gift. Having Jim Harbaugh not be there if you're a player is a gift because that guy's about as inspiring as tapioca. But why are you going to have any rules if you're not going to enforce them if you're the NCAA? Why are you going to say don't cheat? Why isn't every team filming every other team? What's the NCAA going to do? Nothing. What did the Houston Astros get for the punishment for sign stealing? Do you know what the punishment was? $5 million, a first round, and a second round pick. Doesn't apply to fucking college football. Only punishment you can have is, hey, you're cheating, your team's fucked, you're out of contention. No penalty. Michigan played 2 teams. That's it. You look at the rest of their schedule, you and I could suit up and probably beat half those teams. And what's the reason? They say, oh, well, Jordan Travis isn't there. They knew Jordan Travis wasn't there. If you knew Jordan Travis wasn't there, should have dropped us to 5. We should have beat Florida. You should have dropped us to 5. If you knew you were going to do this, drop us to 5. That's the problem I have, is that they keep us at 3 and they drop you 2 points for winning a game. And they're saying, oh, well, this is the best teams. We got to have the best teams. Says who? You're muted. You are muted. Says who?
You were 4.
Okay.
In the final rankings, you were 4.
And we were 4. We beat 14. We won. We dropped.
Understand?
Texas was 7. They beat 18. They leapfrogged us.
All right. So
No.
you made some very compelling arguments.
No. Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm not done. Who?
Okay.
They said Florida State. We don't feel like Florida State could win a national championship. That's the reason they said. They pretty much said, "Hey, tough break, but we're going to make the decision." I've seen you guys do this show enough to know you're degenerate gamblers. I love you to death. You make some bad calls, or you make calls where you're like, "Oh, this makes perfect sense." Week 6, give me all my money. Philadelphia beats Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. I'm putting the house on the Eagles. What happens? Defense shows up. Oh my God. Jalen Hurts, 3 picks. Zach Wilson just needs to be a game manager so they can let Breece Hall run the fucking ball. And all of a sudden, the game is settled on the field, not in some back office like a bunch of bitches, which is exactly what happened. Keon Coleman transferred to Florida State to win a national championship. Jared Verse and Jordan Travis stayed around to win a national championship. You have got the most inspirational head coach in all of college football right now. Nick Saban's got all them rings. You've got players that are literally running through walls to come play for Mike Norvell. They went to UF. One of the UF recruits, they literally had to collect him from the FSU locker room because he was so geeked about what he saw from FSU. There is no coach that is more inspirational than Mike Norvell right now. And this was basically the last opportunity to screw a team, because next year it's going to move to 12 and blah, blah, blah. This would not happen next year. It is an absolute travesty to tell all these kids every cliche.
No, it's not. It's not. Because
you watch Rocky movies. You love Rocky movies. Rocky gets his ass kicked and then he wins. Winning is what matters. Winning is all that matters.
Here we go, Paul. You said we moved to 12. And you know what's the conversation going to be? Because they have this. Look, the NCAA basketball tournament has 68 invites. And what do we spend the
I'm
Monday?
not worried about 13.
Hear me out, Paul. What do we spend the Monday after the tournament talking about? Teams 69, 70, 71, and 72. That's what we talk about. So when this thing
69 through 72 ain't winning a national championship.
Here, still, just let me finish this, bro. Let me finish. I know I'm gonna let you get yours, but just let me just have a different voice for a second. When it goes to 12, 13, 14 is gonna be arguing. It's just the way we're set up. It's the way we cover sports. And I'm gonna let you finish, but then I'm gonna make a statement to you, because again, I keep going back to what I was saying. I knew when Florida State was put in the spot of 4, it was so they could make the argument to pull them out of that spot.
Oh, it was definitely calculated. Oh, it was calculated. It was calculated.
Yes.
It's not, but if it's about the most deserving teams, it is not the most deserving teams.
And I don't disagree with you on that. Here's what I really think.
Then why play the games? Why play the games if you can go undefeated up until the last week, win the championship in your conference, finish undefeated? Why play the games if you could just have some arbitrary committee override what all of the coaches say? You're one of the top 4 teams. All of the media says you're one of the top 4 teams. You get 15 people in a fucking back office and they say, we know better than records. We know better than all the coaches. We know better than all the media. We choose. All the games are exhibitions. Games don't matter. Winning and losing doesn't matter. I joked about it. I posted about it. FSU should show up. They should suit up. They should go to the sideline. And when it's time to kick off, they shouldn't play. They should say, hey, you guys showed us the games don't matter. People are saying, oh, no, FSU, and I saw the comments, FSU's got to beat Georgia. And then what? If they're 3-4 in the AP poll and they beat Georgia, who I can't tell if Georgia's the best team or suddenly they suck ass, depending on who you talk to. So let's just say they go and they beat Georgia, who's definitely beatable. They're definitely a beatable team. So let's say what happens if they beat Georgia? They finish 2. They finish 2 undefeated, and they don't have a chance. You're going to have possibly a 1-loss team be a national championship over a team that they didn't get a chance to face because a committee made that decision. Not because it was settled on the field, not because they proved that they were the better team, but because it was settled on the field. If you're not going to let them settle it on the field, the games don't matter. The rankings don't matter. None of it matters. Nothing matters. The games don't matter. Winning doesn't matter. Losing doesn't matter. Style points don't matter. We could just choose. You know what? Hey, next year, this committee should just tell me who are the top 12 teams. Why play the games? You could get somebody hurt. Why play the games? You should just tell me who are the top 12 teams. I bet they put fucking busted ass Penn State up in there, number 12, overrated team that they are. Why don't you just tell us? If it's just going to be done with video games and numbers, why play the games? Basically, what this decision said, games don't fucking matter. Games don't matter.
No, it didn't. You know,
all exhibition. Hey, undefeated season, here's your participation award.
Hold on. Here's what they told us in the NCAA. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to prescribe a moral compass to a group of unethical people. I knew this screw job was coming. This is like, I know you're not a big wrestling fan, but let's say we were in Montreal and you're like Bret Hart. Well, I'm Shawn Michaels. I knew the screw job was coming and was happening from the gate. I kept trying to say it subtly that I felt like y'all were going to get screwed in this whole situation. You're talking about a group of men that are ran by money. It's why the conferences are falling apart. It's because they want money. Then I don't know if you heard today about this supposed proposed subdivision or whatever that the NCAA is trying to run. This is a money grab. So unfortunately, Florida State had to be sacrificed. This is why
they didn't have to be sacrificed. They were sacrificed.
They did. I'm telling you, they did.
They didn't.
Because I said on Sunday morning, hear me out, Paul. On Sunday morning, I said that Florida State would do a better job if they volunteer for sacrifice. They volunteer for tribute because they have to be the team that's going to be left out.
Let's talk about the matchup that should have been.
Hold on, let me finish. They got to be left out because we want Texas money because we know how Texas travels.
When has Texas done anything?
This is you're asking. We're having a discussion about you're arguing facts when the facts don't matter.
I get that Texas and Alabama have a lot of money. I get that they have a lot of fans. Alabama's shown that they're a player, that they're a big dog. I understand that. Like this was literally all about stats, and unfortunately, it's about offensive stats, and it's not about defensive stats. It's not about defensive stats. So basically, what this committee says is, it's okay to win, but you have to win our way. You can't win
your way.
Exactly. You know what? I don't give a shit if I've got a quarterback playing on one leg, I got a running back who's got his arm falling off, I got a wide receiver who's got his eyes gouged out. If you win, you win. And nobody has told Florida State that they have beaten them. Nobody has said, we got you. So now you've got, put up or shut up against Georgia. So let's just talk about that game. First off, Keon Coleman's already said, hey, I'm out. I don't want to risk injury. I'm a top 15 pick. Jared Verse, I don't know what he's going to do. He came back for this. He's another top 15 NFL pick. You don't want to have two NFL top 15 picks, one on offense, one on defense. You don't want to see what they can do in a playoff? Here's the thing.
Alabama's there. Alabama is.
Who cares? Alabama should have lost to 6-loss Auburn. They were a 4th and 31 from being a 2-loss team.
but they
Alabama's a name.
didn't. Exactly, Paul. You're back to my point.
Florida State's not a name.
My point is they were not going to let the SEC not have a representative in this tournament.
Exactly. When I was first coming up, my older brother's a Gator. He told me the SEC is the most brutal division in college football. We beat each other up and somebody's left standing. Guess what? They beat each other up. Nobody was undefeated.
Right.
Georgia, I already told you, I think that they had a cakewalk of a schedule. I think that they were suspect to begin with. When they finally faced a real team, they lost by 3. But Alabama, you're going to crown Alabama because they won the SEC. Oh, it's the toughest. They must be the best. They should have lost to Auburn. They barely beat fucking Arkansas. They lost by double digits at home week 2. They're more deserving than a team that no matter what pulled it together, won every fucking game. They're more deserving. They're not. You're going to say, oh, they're a better
team. The criteria isn't deserving anymore.
You're going to make the argument they're a better team. And I already told you, week 6, New York Jets beat Philadelphia. Nobody saw it coming. But you know what? That's why you play the games. And what this committee did was they robbed FSU from the opportunity of getting to say, hey, look, we still did it. 2014, Cardale Jones came in. Much better supporting cast. Came in and got the job done. I think Tate Rodemaker could have gotten the job done. Now, Tate Rodemaker's not going to have Keon Coleman. Best wide receiver on the team, not going to have him. He's got to go try to beat Georgia with who the hell knows who's going to be left. And what does FSU got to play for? Pride?
Paul.
What do they got to play for? They have nothing to play for. This was a hit job because.
But I told you this hit job was happening. All right, now we got to do.
It doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it.
Hold on. I understand, P, but we got to put a pin in it because we got to get out. We out of town. And I appreciate the big dog dropping out because he knew, like the second I said, I'm going to have Duval Paul on.
He said, oh no.
He said, let's go. So let's wrap it up.
I mean, it's going to be one of these things that for all time, it's going to be the biggest friggin' job. This is the last year they could do it. And there's, quite frankly, a lot of people don't like FSU. They really hate that FSU won those games against all those odds.
Exactly. And then real quick for me, all I'm going to say is we keep questioning the morals of men without morals. Like this whole thing is going to go to shit in the next 2 to 3 years because they've allowed money to run this. And they can't run anything. Hold on. They've allowed money to manage this because all they want is more money. They don't. The greed has taken over.
No, the problem is that the players started getting money and they didn't know how to handle it. So now they're still trying to let the players get money and try to figure out how they can also keep whatever their share is because they are greedy.
Exactly. Totally
doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it fair. Doesn't make this the best Final Four. They if they needed to make a tough choice, they could have done it and said, you know what? Hey, you know what? Texas, I'm sorry you're out. Should have won all your games. Hey, Bama, I know you're in the SEC. Should have won all your games. That's how they could have left it out. Somebody would have been salty. Instead, they said, hey, look, winning all your games doesn't matter.
All right. That's all right. So what you got, KG? Because I know we got to get out.
I want to get to the comments, but we up against it. We're going to have to keep this conversation going in the group chat. So let's head over to Sideline Junkies 24/7 and keep this conversation going because this might can go all night.
I think you gotta get up and go to work, man.
Look, where I'm working at tomorrow, I'm close to home, so I ain't got to get up too early. But Paul, number one, thank you. We may have to put a pin in this, and we may have to revisit this on next Tuesday.
Yeah, all I will say is I've watched Michigan. I think Michigan does a great job of running the ball. And I think that it would have been really fantastic to see FSU's defensive line make that quarterback throw the ball and let the chips fall where they may. If they're truly number one, they come out and they get to vie for a championship. FSU got that opportunity robbed. Never going to let it live down.
As you shouldn't. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We up against it. Got to run. But we'll talk Heisman on Thursday. We'll preview the Thursday night game. We'll do all of that on Thursday. But as of right now, for Duval Paul, the Midnight Rider, the Boss BJ, Matt, Lee Ice, all in the comments. I'm the big guy KG. You know the motto, baby. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.